Hi everyone, this is Kelly from The Truth in Story, and today is Tarot Perspective Wrap-Up. It's the last day of Tarot Perspective. Now, as anybody following any of my social media knows, I have not hooked up on Tarot Perspective. And I did really good the first, I haven't looked up, a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I think it was the first 2 weeks. But then my mother went in the hospital, and that was the end of that. And I did a couple here and there, but yeah, if I did half of the month, that would be being generous to myself. So what are you going to do, right? Life happens, and so I'm really not beating myself up about it, but I did still want to come on and do just kind of a wrap-up. I know Patrick put one up on his channel in the 78 cards. I'll put a link to that below. I haven't even watched it yet because I just got home and I haven't sat down to watch it, but it is there, and it looks like he's out in front of the ocean, which is awesome because him and his wife live in the beautiful coast of Maine. So, you don't get that. You get, I'm getting ready to start a new pastel painting. I don't know why they call it painting when you're using chalks and fingers, but it's not really a drawing either. So yeah, you don't get the ocean, but that's okay. That's okay. So even though I didn't do it all, and I only did maybe half, and again, I'm being generous when I say half. I haven't sat down and looked it up, but I have to say that I did enjoy it, but when things really kind of fell apart, when I did want to draw, like doing that kind of academic look at the cards, which I think is fantastic, just wasn't, and I really wanted to actually get a reading with a little bit of quick time that I had when I was running home, so I mostly did 3-card draws, but I did do them mostly, almost, I think all of them, from the Margaret Peterson Tarot. So I did get a pretty good month with the Margaret Peterson, which I had been using before that as well, and so I'm going to start with the Margaret Peterson because this was my main deck. And excuse me, this is my backing. I have a version apparently that is difficult to find. It is an earlier version that does not have the white around the backs. People ask me this whenever they see it. That's why I'm just kind of covering the bases. The fronts look the same as the other one, but the backs have a white around it, and the box is much more like a hard oracle box. People do want it. I want to say it's like 1978, but I could be completely wrong. Don't listen to me. Not on this tonight. But anyways, it is a different version. So if that's, people see the back and they always ask me that. I love this deck. I loved it before I started doing it, and look at the Son of Cups. And I still love it, and now, like, that I'm getting into more artistic, look at the Five of Flames. I just appreciate the artwork, but even more than that, I appreciate the subtlety of the artwork that still packs such a wallop. Look at the Seven of Feathers. I appreciate the guidebook. I know that some people struggle a little bit more with the minor. The majors in the Margaret Peterson are poems, and the minors in the Margaret Peterson are written descriptions, but they're quite poetic and quite beautifully written, and I love them. I find them just as, look at Justice. It's so subtle. Like you could spend time just with a card and just saying, okay, what's going on that I'm not seeing at first glance? Because you see one thing at first glance, and then when you look deeper, you see even more. I love the coins, and I have to say this is probably the first deck that I've ever said that I think that the coins are my favorite suit. Sorry about that. I did not turn off my phone. There we go. The coins are my favorite, and there are all, oops, and I want to look at it. There's lots of handprints and footprints. I just love, look at the Six of Flames. So yeah, this month that I have spent, and I will say with this one that I've actually spent a nice month with, I just love it more than I loved it before. It is very nurturing. It is very soothing to me. It is very supportive. It's like a wellspring to me, and yet it also reads beautifully. I have read with this with clients, and it reads absolutely gorgeous. I love to use it for Journey with Grief readings. Look at the Five of Feathers. That would be the Five of Swords. Look at that. I just find it to be stunning. I have grown with my thoughts on some cards because of it. It's the Nine of Flames or Wands. I just love it. It is a deck that I will definitely be working with. It's not one that will be kind of set aside. You know, I love air. But I will say in this deck, I probably like the, I'm trying to find another, oh, Two of Feathers. It's just gorgeous. Then you guys have all seen this if you followed me at all. Look at the Ace of Cups. Yeah, so I just love this. I love the deck. I love it even more than I started with Tarot Perspectives. And even though I didn't only maybe get 2 weeks total out of the Tarot Perspectives, I did use it for draws in very, you know, difficult situations, and it just came out for me. I love the Nine of Cups. We have the pearl that comes from the troubles and the irritations and the difficulties, and yet it has created the pearl. Look at that. Really, so gorgeous. So, yeah, Margaret Peterson still stays on my reading table right next to me, and that has not changed from working with it. So that was my main deck. The other deck that I had that was actually, I got it right before the Tarot Perspectives, was the Tarot of the Spirit. I really enjoyed this deck. Now, this one I didn't get to use as much because I just used it for the perspective draws. I have done a couple of readings with it, though, actually. I love this deck. I'm really happy with how it reads. I like the pips. I love the Wheel of Fortune here. There is an energy to this one that's just, look at, this is the Brother of Fire, which would be the Knight of Fire. There is a movement of color. The best aces, almost, I have to say, of all aces. I love the aces. I actually quite like the keywords. This one is a Mother of Water, so you can't really see a keyword, but I like the quartz in this. I mean, I love the quartz in this. Look at the Sister of Cups, which would be the Page of Cups. Absolutely one of my favorite moon cards. Gorgeous. So I'm really looking forward to using it. There were a couple that kind of was like, well, that's interesting, in the minors that were, I don't know, just a bit rainbow. The colors just kind of was like, oh, well, that's interesting. More like these geometric type things. I'm not a real geometric kind of person. There's a lot of geometric shapes in the Fountain Tarot, but there's also a lot of softness that, so it's a beautiful combination. These are much more bright in-your-face geometrics that I had to sit and work with a little bit more, but I still, I mean, look at the flood. They call the Four of Water the flood. Look at the Four Cups pouring out. Love that. So yeah, I am actually excited to I'm excited to work with this more on a reading level, because these definitely were much more, here's the Mountain, Eight of Earth. I say the minors, though, the keywords at the bottoms really helps to see where they were going for, and that I found to be very, very helpful. And look at the Father of Water. But the court cards are stunning. Yeah. Yep. Love this deck. I really do. And I'm really looking forward to doing some actual readings with it more, because I think it is one of those that is going to read really well. It has a pip-like deck. Minors, they are not pip cards. There is illustrations. They're just not scenic. So here's the Three of Fire, but it is the birth of light. And you can see that within the card, even though it's just, there's nothing really strong forms. Same thing oftentimes in the Margaret Peterson. So I'm trying to find another example. Like the Ten of Fire almost looks like 10 Wands, but there is stuff going on. It's just not like so clearly people just going about doing whatever we're doing, like the Five of Earth. It has that non-scenic. I think in another video we decided, I think maybe Katie Flowers said, you know, that would be more like non-scenic. They're not pip cards in which there's just 5 wands sitting there, but there aren't scenes like you would see in the Rider-Waite-Smith that sort of describe what it is. So it's sort of a blend, but they're just gorgeous, and they look beautiful with the Margaret Peterson. Look at this, Ace of Fire. The Ace is stunning, the Court card's stunning, the Major's stunning, most of the Minors are stunning. They're just different, like the Two of Wind. Look at that. I mean, look at the seasons, and it's just beautiful. So yeah, I highly recommend Tarot of the Spirit. I think it's very beautiful, very powerful, very energetic in color and energy and motion within it. And I'm really looking forward to doing some actual readings more with it, because it is a deck that I will pull out for actual client readings. I have already, and I will continue to do so. I'm very, very happy with this purchase, and I'm very happy to have used it and got to know it a little bit more. The other deck that I used, I just looked, I thought, oh, I was not recording. The other deck that I used was the Thoth Tarot. Some people say Thoth, I say Thoth. And this one I enjoyed, but it was really sort of just, I was really focused on Tarot of the Spirit and the Margaret Peterson, and then I was like, oh, this is what the Thoth deck is doing in conjunction. Now, I have worked, like I hadn't worked at all with Tarot of the Spirit, so I was really interested in those cards, and I worked with the Margaret Peterson, but I'm in love with the Margaret Peterson. So I have to say that the Thoth did sort of get pushed a little bit to the wayside, even though it's a stunning deck. I love it. It is a deck that, these are still in order because, which I'm glad to be able to mix these up. You know, I've worked with this before, so it wasn't new, and so it just kind of got pushed to the side. However, this is a deck that I will be using and working with. I think it is a stunning deck. I really do enjoy it. I don't always agree with some of the keywords of the Minors. Like, I don't really think of Two of Wands as Dominion, but I'm interested to see why. But either way, like with that Two of Wands, it's very much more of a pip deck, because we do often, although it's pip deck with energy of it, it's definitely still non-scenic, but closer to a pip deck. So you have like the Three of Wands, but because of the colors and the energy, it still says, it still has a story. So this would be Strife, but they look like almost like a Marseille deck, but there is a lot of use of color and energy that does tend to give it that oomph. Now, I personally like pip decks. By pip deck, I mean just, you know, here we have 9 wands. So they're just 9 wands, but we have the sun above, we have the moon below, we have the coloration. This keyword they have as strength. So it is pips because we just have 9 wands, but there is enough there to also add to it. One of my all-time favorite Two of Swords. Absolutely stunning. If I could make it look just like this, I would use that as my Two of Swords tattoo. Love that. One of my favorite, all-time favorite, Ten of Swords. I just love that Ten of Swords. So it's a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. It's one that I will be using or studying more. It's just one of those, it just kind of got pushed to the side because of the new Tarot of the Spirit and because of my love of the Margaret Peterson. So it was more of like a foil that said, okay, well, these two are doing this. Here, what is the Thoth doing? Which is what the purpose of this was. But I have to say that it did get a little bit pushed to the side. So I shouldn't have mixed that up because I should have done, let me just do, I haven't even done a pull for today, but I am going to go ahead, and why don't I go ahead and do it on camera and try to find, it's going to be terrible because I'm not going to be able to find it on the other two, but we're going to give it a whirl. I can always fast forward this. I love my Margaret Peterson. Let's just do the last pull and see what we have. The beautiful Three of Cups. How wonderful is that? All of us as a community coming together, celebrating together the end of a challenge. Some of us did better than others, but you know, it wasn't a test. Beautiful Three of Cups. So let me try to pull. Oh, I'm going to shoot myself for having just three. Mixed all these up when I could have easily at least found the Thoth. Three of Discs. Let's see. I love to hear in the comments if you did the tarot perspectives, how you felt about it. Did you, what did you learn out of it? There's Three of Wands. We're getting there. Did you enjoy it? Are you excited to go back to more of a regular pull? I think I've definitely heard that. I think Patrick and I have talked about it, and I think I've heard it from other people as well, that it was a very great experience in seeing the cards differently. But, it is essentially a one-card draw all month, which there are challenges like that. I guess because I looked at it a little bit, I think Patrick as well, was more of an academic pursuit. There are some people, I think, who will be happy to get back to more regular, not divinatory, but at least less academic drawing for the next month. But what I did of it, I greatly enjoyed. I probably didn't have the burnout of that academic aspect because I didn't do the full month. See if I can find, this is really loud deck when you do this. Three of Earth. If I started at the bottom, here it is, Three of Cups. Okay, so let's take a look at these because they're beautiful. Get that out of the way. Okay, so here was the original. This is the Three of Earth. Let's just see. This is what I was doing all month. So, when I did do it. So let's just do it. So here, and let me find the Three of Cups. Here, it's Earth, Water. Okay, so here is the Three of Cups. Festivities, celebrating and sharing, not leaving but stepping out of the cozy limits of twosome intimacy. The transition and new contacts are celebrated. The boundaries of everyday life shift and expand. Forget your worries, but don't suppress them. A new beginning, a fluid sense of being in the present. Images and roles change. Celebrating, playing, dancing, and communicating nice and easy. A celebration is unfolding and a cleansing. Heavy emotion transforms into lightness and joy and renew themselves. So that's from the guidebook of the Margaret Peterson. Let me hold this up for a minute. So this is the beautiful Tarot of the Spirit. So you can see I just love the two decks together. They're not the same by any means, but they actually visually look beautiful together. So let's see I'm just using the little white book for this just because that's what I started doing, just because it was easier when things started to get a little bit hectic. So let me see the Water. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And the keyword they chose for this is stream of love. You are a sublime state of harmonious pleasure. You are in a grace period. You feel a sense of wondrous creation. You feel very loved by all that is. You love all that is. This is a beautiful time to be alive. So you see that even though the Three Cups are there, so you can read it that way, and I would still read it as that coming together and celebrating with other people. In the guidebook, you don't get as much of that, but the stream of love to me is connecting all these people together that we generally see moving from 2 into 3, as Margaret Peterson said. That's kind of the concept of the numerology of moving from 2 to 3. So visually, you can still read it that way. The guidebook, or this is just a little white book one, talks a little bit more about being in harmony and being in a sense of grace, loving everything and everything being loving you, but not so much that idea of kind of camaraderie and kind of coming together. But I love that that's the last pull. And we see for the Thoth that we have abundance, and you can see these look quite similar. And that happened quite a bit. They'd be a little bit different, but you could see some Thoth influences, I think, in the Tarot of the Spirit. I didn't obviously have enough time to really suss that out, but that would be my guess, that there's some influence there. So I mostly used the keywords for the Crowley Tarot by Hajo Banzhoff and Brigitte stellar. I know I'm slaughtering their names. I actually really recommend this book. I do think you should have the Duquette one, as well as probably the Aleister Crowley's book, but I actually find this to be really handy because it gives you different situations. If you're pulling it as a card of a day, what it might be, some keywords. It gives you a listing of what are the elements that are inside of the card. I really like that. So just for a quick thing, instead of a little white book, it gives you more than a little white book. But so it's kind of like in between a little white book and then the books, like the Duquette book. But in general, this is about fulfillment, joy, fertile exchange, gratitude, well-being, rich harvest. The key word is abundance, which I think is wonderful for the Three of Cups, because there is that abundant feeling when we're all together. The cups are overflowing, which I think you also do see in the stream of love. In the Three of Cups, I just love this because this is what I think. You can see on the almost like cave paintings of people that are dancing together and celebrating together. And I just think that to me, is the most of how I feel about the Three of Cups. But also this, the Thoth with the overflowing really does speak to that as well. And this, I think, is stunning, but doesn't quite, for me, doesn't quite pull off the feeling of the Three of Cups, but I still think it's gorgeous. So there we have my very last draw of the day, of the month, rounded off, even though I feel horrible. I don't. I'm refusing to feel guilty, but I did enjoy what I did. I came out of it loving the Margaret Peterson even more than I loved it going in. I definitely fell in love with the Tarot of the Spirit, and I'm so glad I picked that up. A number of people recommended this to me, but Bart in particular is the one who drew it to my attention. And thank you, Bart, because I love this deck. And so there we have it. Thank you for participating, everybody who participated. Thank Patrick. He did an amazing job at holding down the fort when I was not liking all the comments, when, you know, I just didn't even, I should have sat in the hospital and sat there and hit, but your brain is just not there. So Patrick did an absolutely amazing job. He's so much fun to do challenges with because he keeps on task and he keeps on point, which I need. I actually really enjoyed leading up to it while everybody was picking their decks and doing all the little promo things that Slave Driver Patrick was making me do with watercolor. It was a lot of fun, and I really have to say that I probably enjoyed the a week and a half before just as much, if not more, just because it went crazy after a while. But I really loved seeing everybody's conversation about the decks that they were going to use. That was just a lot of fun, and just seeing different decks and what kind of decks did come to people's mind. I just thought that was great. And so thank you for letting me go along on that journey with all of you. Again, thank you, Patrick, for doing an amazing job with keeping up on everything. And this was all his idea. He sucks me into these things. And, you know, what can I do? What can I do? What will be next? We don't know. But thank you. Again, if you did participate in Tarot Perspectives, please leave a comment below. Let me know, like, overall, you know, how do you feel about your decks at the end? Did you keep 3 all the way through, or did you swap them up? I know some people were going to swap them up. Just kind of give me a little, like, synopsis of what you how that ended up going for you. And so I know there's some people who are going to continue to carry it on. I saw that as well. So that's amazing. So we can still be able to see some of those probably in social media threads, especially Instagram. So everybody have a fantastic day. Thank you all for your patience with my sometimes lack of being around during the challenge. I greatly appreciate that. But again, thank you all. I'm so glad that I pulled the Three of Cups for this, because it really does. Well, this is our second doing of a challenge with Patrick, and both times the best part is that sense of camaraderie. In fact, I think Patrick pulled a Three of Cups for something in the last Dive Deep one. I have to ask him about that, but that's pretty cool. So thank you all, and have a wonderful, wonderful night.